Good afternoon, student professional greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable Knowledge Seeker, today I am your host for the afternoon. My name is Badhan Dash. I am from Bangladesh. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. IGP is a social and ISO certified international training institute. In 3 years, we already served 3 million plus knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 250 plus professions and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professional Active for Skill Development, which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professional qualifications. The Institute of Global Professional is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and reportable. We serve student and community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one skill just by offering formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our service locally, nationally, and internationally to the students, job seeker, job holder, and also for learners, though respective campus location and distance learning platforms. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product, it's a part of our human race. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinar, seminar courses, award, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to serve them more 100 services for like free create own portfolio website, resume their cover letter, motivation letter, and wall knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge, which can upgrade all the kids learning games, website, free courses, converse sites, and many more. We help to empower you to learn to meet their expectations and dream and become highly skilled people. We several training program, webinar, and offline online courses for youth and learned by professionals, trainers, speakers, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kind of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personalities. To ensure excellent and in-depth instruction, we arrange with qualified trainers, speakers. We extended free service to more than 3 million knowledge seekers in the last 3 years. We have association with universities and organizations in 70 different countries. Virtual mass signing with many college and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation of future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. We are constantly prepared to assist knowledge speaker and value service knowledge is crucial for Institute of Global Professional. We believe that knowledge is life and light and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and will see good research and practice method. We must have a genuine concern for the learners we represent. More diversity, growth, and innovation are required to lead a session with professionalism, passion, and integrity. IGP members are committed to offering effective, best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can provide their skill level and value. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. This support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,189 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,189 webinars successfully. Wow. At present, we are going to start our 1,190 program, and the program name is Challenge of New Skill Leaders in Reinventing Post-Pandemic Education. And our today's name is Sir Carlos Tian Croci Courage. Before I hand over the stage to our speaker, sir, I wanted to share a little bit about our speaker, sir. He is an education program supervisor, Surya del Sur Division, SG22. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker with his presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker with his presentation. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Sir, I can't hear you. Sir, your mic is mute. That's why I can't hear you.
Hi, okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, sorry for that. Good afternoon, no, I'm just doing fine. And good afternoon to all of you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, on behalf of IGP Knowledge Seeker, wants to hear from you about you, sir.
Okay, we'll be sharing now my screen. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, or good afternoon to the audience here in the Philippines, and of course, good afternoon also, good morning, and good evening to the rest of the countries in Southeast Asia, and of course,
Amin.
across the world. Okay. So spending again no, this afternoon to take a look about the challenges no, of the school leaders in reinventing the post-pandemic education. So we will taking a look at how our school managers and school leaders respond not to the issues in the post-pandemic education delivery. So the global 19 pandemic has had huge disruptive effects on normal life for our schools and our students and parents as well as our stakeholders. The impact of closed schools and children stuck at home with little or no access to learning platforms, then the effect on this has been very devastating. So experts estimates that a whole year of learning could be lost, meaning a whole cohort of students could be permanently lagging behind in their learning. That is why education department must be proactive and should in any way continue schooling despite pandemic. So for this session, uh, these are the following lenses that we are going to talk about. We are going to take a look at the rationale where we are going to determine the bottlenecks and the pain points in the implementation of the post-pandemic education. We will also discuss the issues and challenges, the different problems encountered by school leaders, our teachers, and our stakeholders in the delivery of basic education during the post-pandemic education. And of course, we will take a look at some of the resolutions. So, what are the actions done in schools to increase gains and minimize risk in basic education delivery services? Considering that the pandemic do not end yet, we still have to take a look at more lenses on how the school leader should manage the reopening of classes. So the crisis and the response to pandemic has exposed weaknesses in our educational system, while also creating opportunities to reshape school education to a new paradigm that is more resilient and robust. The pandemic is not the first, nor it will be the last to impact our country and our schools. And these crises are becoming more increasingly likely with climate change, technological disruptions, or globalized connectivity and other issues at hand where our countries are experiencing right at the moment. So as leaders of our schools, as leaders of our organization, there are some reflections that we need to take a look for us to be able to see what's in store for the next days and the next months while we are encountering face-to-face classes with our students. So we will take a question on what has been the hardest part about moving from modular distance learning to face-to-face learning delivery. We also reflect on how do we think our students have adapted in-person classes after a 2 year out of school learning. School manager should also reflect on what are they doing now in implementing face-to-face learning or face-to-face classes in the post-pandemic setting. We will take a look also at how our students are achieving recovery from learning loss, and how did our schools adjust the curriculum delivery in the post-pandemic education, considering that students and teachers and school heads have major adjustments and readjustments in the resumption of classes, and what motivated our school leaders to keep going despite challenges in the post-pandemic education. So there are actually many questions that arise, no, in school leaders, since many challenges and problems, issues and concerns were encountered during the reopening of classes. So while the coronavirus has infected over 322,000 people, particularly in our country, the Philippines, and counting, a total of over 27 million elementary and high school students in both public and private schools were affected with the adjustments of education in the times of pandemic. There were students who did not experience long lines at the school gates for 2 years. They did not experience excitement of wearing their school uniforms and colorful backpacks. And there were no children, no, crying as parents leave them in classrooms for 2 years. So with this scenario, the pandemic prompted the schools and the school leaders to decide through the learning continuity plan the appropriate learning delivery modalities suited to their own context, because we understand that each and every school has their own context. And in most areas in the world, around 90% of our schools resorted to printed modular distance learning during the pandemic. Recently, that the pandemic started to tone down, the question now is how ready are our schools to recover the learning loss? This prompted confusion since sudden closure of schools happened in the past 2 years, and this needs major adjustment caused by widespread effect of the pandemic that flashed all in all parts of the country. So as the school year progresses, from its reopening this school year, more and more challenge were encountered in the day-to-day delivery of the basic education services. Challenges in schools are rapidly increasing and solutions are still on tryout basis. Even school leaders and teachers are still grappling on adjustments and decisions to refine the delivery of the curriculum and instruction, of course, for the purpose of recovering the learning loss. So the question now is, what are the problems encountered by school leaders in the reopening of schools? There are a number of daunting challenges that need to be addressed and overcome for distance education to be efficiently and effectively delivered. So as you see now in the picture, there are so many challenges that schools now are encountering and school leaders now are experiencing, since most of our schools are not really prepared for the reopening of classes. Although there were some preparations that were being done, but it is not enough to say that the schools now are ready for the resumption of classes. So let us just take a look at some of the salient features, no, the salient challenges that were mostly common to all our schools. Stakeholders preparedness. Uh, the stakeholders preparedness for the resumption for the in-person classes uh, really needs take time to focus, no, uh, we need to see who are these stakeholders who are prepared and not prepared in in the reopening of our classes. So we have our stakeholders, we have our students, we have our teachers, we have our school administrators, the parents, and the external partners. And the question now is, how prepared are our students, our teachers, our school administrators our parents, and external partners for the in-person classes, since most of them experience home-based learning. And recovering learning will require a different mindset for all our stakeholders. Are these questions, okay, that keeps challenging, the schools and the organization. For students, how will they cope up with learning recovery? How will they cope up with literacy and numeracy loss? For our teachers, how will they manage the stress of teaching and student learning to recover the learning loss, since they are required now to cover up the competencies that were not mastered for the past 2 years? For the school leaders, the question now is how are they going to manage the systems, the processes, the operations in reinventing educational delivery? And for the parents, how are they going to manage the responsibility of assisting children in recovering learning? And of course, for our external partners, how will they sustain support to the resources of the school, considering most budgets were spent to COVID-19 programs and projects? So, one of the critical concerns to look out for this new schooling environment is, of course, the mental health of teachers and students caused by major anxiety and adjustments. So, the second is technology. The question is, are we technologically prepared? Do we have a well structured ICT infrastructure that can accommodate our learners in coming to school? So given the situation that 85% of our learners are coming from marginalized and poorest areas, especially the public school, so how can technology be a matter of learning when resources are not available? Are all our teachers and learners equipped with skills to shift from traditional to technology-based teaching and learning? Are technological gadgets available at school? And if these are available, would this warrant to the number of students who will use the gadget? Are the geographical locations of learners considered as hotspots to access strong signal connections, so that our learners can also fast track the way they learn from the lesson as part of the recovery measures? So the questions now are, what are effective technologies to deliver educational content and materials to be used in our schools and learning centers? Are these technologies fitting to the context of the learners? What technologies, whether it's a high tech or low tech, works best in education? In the context of the face-to-face learning, the question of technology revolves around how to engage students in their own self-learning. And today, how would technology work in the learning process, considering our communities, our learners, and even our working force is not prepared and equipped for this? So the third concern is pedagogy. Okay. So how did pedagogy play part to recover learning loss? While the curriculum or the subjects comprising a course is the same, whether classes are in face-to-face or in remote delivery or through homeschooling, the pedagogy or the method and practice of teaching is going to be different for each modality and delivery. So teaching distance classes as well as in-person classes after pandemic will require new methods and practices. But how did our teachers adjust to these pedagogical processes? So the question remains on how to engage children to creatively learn, considering competencies, literacy and numeracy level is very low up to this moment. No, and these are product of distance learning. Even practical skills are often required through learning by doing, and these were not mastered during distance education. So how will school provide avenues now for schools to recover the hands-on experiences of our learners, or required to our learners? So learning is moved now to the school and parents will somewhat give the responsibility solely to teachers. Due to these changes, several concerns have been raised, such as how will parents become partner of instruction at home, and how will the parents manage their children learning, especially the toddlers, the kindergarten, the key stage 1 and 2 learners who have been encountering problems with literacy and numeracy, and how will our parents sustain their assistance to these learners. So there are even questions on how will the parents be able to manage to help their kids learn while looking ways to earn, and how can they teach their children if they have not finished higher education. So what is now the challenge? So even in face-to-face and then face-to-face learning, the same problem occur. Most parents could not attend to their children because they're still working. They need to work on something to sustain their basic needs. And most parents could not assist their children because they find it hard to understand the lessons because it's beyond the way they understand, it's beyond their comprehension. So the next issue is the teacher support. The most difficult is how would teachers ensure that learners are learning from the lessons introduced through several in-person adjustments, and how would teachers ensure that all learners are given equal attention considering there are still more tasks ahead that consumes most of their time. So there were even claimors from teachers that they find it difficult to deal with students with literacy and numeracy problems. And even these students also have attitudes that are not responsive to their classes and to their activities. So, as the school year progresses from its reopening, more and more challenges were encountered in the day to day delivery of the basic education services. So, for school leaders, we need a holistic and proactive approach that is recommended to ensure immediate crisis remediation as well as a smooth transition to what is called now the now normal education. So there are some things, no, there are some holistic and proactive approach that school leaders must remember for us to be able to ensure that we can recover learning loss little by little. So the first one is to understand the new reality. We need to understand the world that we are living at the moment. So how are we going to understand the new reality? First, we need to conduct reassessment of school processes and mechanisms against the existing response framework to understand scope and scale on impact of education system. We need to go back to the processes and mechanisms of our organization, and we are going to reassess what works and what doesn't works. We focus on what works, and we tend to improve, or we try to improve the systems, the processes and mechanisms that doesn't work. We should know how to filter elements from the different processes and mechanisms so that we can assure that the delivery of education is running smoothly. We need to mitigate immediate impact of crisis from a policy, structural, social, and financial perspective. So we will disregard what doesn't work. We disregard what doesn't work well, and we are going to improve what contributes to success. School leaders must know how to filter the things inside the organization. And based on revision, we can refine education system's new reality, and we can determine gap to reach the future target state. So we need to go back on reassessment. What are the mechanisms and processes that are capable for improving and moving our organization, and what are these processes and mechanisms that doesn't work well and needs adjustment or needs changes. After understanding the reality, we need to build capabilities. Okay, we need to build capabilities in the advent of the changes in the educational system, in the advent of the changes of education delivery caused by the pandemic. We need to invest in building human resource capabilities and ensure uniform teaching standards and skills for education delivery. We need to focus on teacher development program on the most essential, specifically on the needs and gaps in the implementation of the now education system. So from the systems and mechanisms that doesn't work, we need to take a look at our human resources also, uh, in reality in the now normal, and what are their capabilities, what are their capabilities and preparedness to ensure that they embrace the teaching standards and skills for education delivery. And we have to make sure also school leaders to have availability of support for distance learning or in-person learning. And we have to be proactive in developing strategies and promising practices and innovations on different learning platforms. We need to reinvent the way we deliver education. We need to reinvent our strategies. We need to reinvent our techniques and modalities, because some things are happening and some things are changing. Then the third one is we need to reinvent our model. From the pre-assessment, from the capability building that we provided to the human resource, we need to reinvent our models. We need to activate network of experts, innovators, and companies to model a redesign. We have to involve our stakeholders, since we understand now who are our stakeholders and how prepared are our stakeholders to assist us in the delivery of our educational system. So we need to involve them in the reinvention of the systems, the processes and mechanism, so that they have ownership of the process. When people own the process, they will take it as a responsibility. So we need to involve our teachers, we need to involve our students, our parents, our stakeholders in redesigning the models of education delivery. We need to engage more with our parents, our teachers, and the students to design the now normal education. And of course, we are going to focus on equitable access to education for vulnerable and disadvantaged or less privileged. In time of crisis, these stakeholders are most that need help. So we need to create alignment of curriculum, teaching assessment, and learning in school and then school environments to meet the now normal education challenges. We need to discover approaches to reinvision the classroom, to promote and sustain student-centered and creative pedagogies. We need also to master strategies and skills needed to promote hybrid delivery of curriculum. And of course, we're going to learn ways to empower students and teachers and parents to manage new challenges in the now normal schooling. Then aside from reinventing our model in the organization, we need also to enhance learning platforms. We need to rearrange the educational institution, the way we practice the classroom setting, since until now we are still required with social distancing, shifting, cleanliness and hygiene. And the school leaders, not the school leaders, should always see to it that these particular activities and health practices are always present in the school because it's still in the pandemic. We need also to stay change the strategy of teaching, from face to face, integrated to online or blended and or remote learning. So it doesn't mean that when we are going to have on when it doesn't mean that we are now shifting into in-person classes. We're going to stray away with online modalities or blended learning or remote learning. It is much better if we are going to embrace also, okay, we're going to embrace also a blended modality to ensure that the learning needs are going to be catered, and learning recovery will be ensured. Okay. So this is one thing that the leaders will take a look also on what's applicable in the context and who's qualified, no, who's qualified to do it. Considering that even when we're going to do a blended learning, we still need to ensure the quality delivery. And we are going to sit to take a look also at the alternative educational calendar, no, how to reduce the syllabus, redesigning the syllabus, the process of examination. Can we do online testing? Can we have open book examination? Can we have a home-based assessment? Considering that we quality assure the mechanisms and process of these alternative educational platforms. And the last one is we can also take a look at how are we going to conduct online projects, internship, online requirements for our students to have also an upgraded knowledge and skills. Because we don't just rely our students to learn in the face-to-face classes, as we are allowing them to open to a new world, as we're going to allow them to open to their world, we also need to open different platforms for them to learn from these experiences. And of course, after enhancing learning platforms, we need to improve our strategies. Okay, we need to study how effective teaching from home for our teachers, especially now that they are migrating or we are migrating into now normal, and expect that there are major changes and adjustments. How can we promote homeschool culture in which students can independently learn even without the presence of teachers? And we need to take the profiling of our students who are those capable of homeschooling. We can also use multiple pedagogies like flipped classroom, which is a trend now in education. The traditional one can somehow be effective in other contexts, but not effective in all contexts. How can we increase parent involvement in education, not only in finances, not only in financial support to the children's schooling, but involvement of parents in education and learning? And of course, how are we going to maximize the use of virtual reality that our students can experience experiment, laboratories, and tours through online and virtual platform? That there is no need for them to do on-site, uh, on-site visits, on-site tour, but they can also use the virtual reality as a laboratory of learning, as a laboratory of experiments, and of course, as avenue of learning the context and culture without even going into the place. And of course, how are we going to start introducing artificial intelligence, the AI and the AR in education? How could we maximize the use of virtual education, virtual teaching, virtual movement? How can we intensify understanding the areas of robotics in science and physics and all these things? Because our education must move into something scientific and technologically advanced education. And of course, how can we develop and use e-content? The teachers will not just be relying on printed papers, printed activity sheets, but we can utilize the different platforms for e-content that our students will not be burdened with paperworks, but also they can be experiencing a mixture of paperworks and e-content, no, or web contents that they can just do the requirements and submit the requirements in a non-paper pencil modality. Then from improving strategies, we need to move also on changing the role of the teacher. How could our teachers master online teaching, delivery of teaching through online platforms, and how can they ensure that online teaching and learning can be effective for some of our students, although not of all of our students are capable of online learning. But how could teachers filter the profile of the students, and they can be able to deliver other types of lessons through online teaching? Okay, so how could we contextualize pedagogies that we are going to move now from individual instruction to collaborative, peer, ICT based, and blended pedagogies? How could we allow our students to work not only for themselves but to work for others in the different requirements and different learning? Then how can we integrate OER, okay, open educational resources in teaching? That our teachers will not just rely on paper and printed activity sheets, but there are available open educational resources that can be used in their classes. Okay, that they will not be relying on the textbooks that will be given by the department, but they can be also resourceful in taking a look at the available resources in the open educational resources. Then how can our teachers understand and become well versed in developing e-content activities like quizzes and tests, that our teachers can independently work on this, for their students also to independently work on these activities and quizzes? Then how can we also change the role of a teacher to become to encourage learner and parent support in the academic and socio personal, okay, activities? that our learners and parents should have also partnership, no, in taking a look on how the students will recover learning out from the losses of academics for 2 years, and how they empower their learners, no, and how are we going to empower also their parents, no, to take partnership in learning. And how can we ensure that a teacher can create community awareness, that the community will understand the changes of the educational system, the changes of the organization when it comes to delivery in education, and how can we continue creating safe and hygiene in the school environment? How could teachers, students, and stakeholders could ensure always that the schools are friendly and safe, no, for our learners? So these are some of the six, no, of the six things, or the six strategies, or holistic and proactive approaches that school heads must remember and must take one step at a time for them to be able to realize the quality education delivery in some of the adjustments during the resumption of classes. So the next question now is, what must the school leaders ensure in the post-pandemic education? Okay, so well, there are many things. There are many proactive and holistic approach to consider now in making the school also proactive in the delivery of the teaching and learning experiences. Teachers must also take a look at some of the focus to ensure quality education delivery in the post-pandemic education. So as we are moving now into digital rise, where we want our learners to open up themselves into the reality, we need to take a look at these actions, or specific steps that we will consider to make also our teaching and learning, to make our curriculum proactive. We need to ensure that our schools actually should have universal access to technology. When our school should have universal access to technology, we can ensure that our students also can have universal access to the world. We need to ensure also that we're going to put up strong network that students can connect, no, and the network is available for all of them, and they could connect, no, they could connect to the peers, to the communities, and to the world. Of course, financial resource allocation for digitalization. The organization must set aside a budget, no, for digitalization. Education now is not only enough when we are just going to go on with traditional way of delivering the learning and teaching, but we need to digitize also our material, so that our learners could be able to access and connect to the digital world, so that they can better understand what are the happenings in the world this time. We need also to ensure our teachers should understand how to develop e-content in all languages. Especially, we are open for networking, for e-networking or international networking. So we need to ensure that our students also should understand very well some other content, some other languages, so that they could easily communicate with other nationalities, as we are opening now borders in the different world. Then how can we ensure the validity of the e-content of the materials? Then how can we ensure the teachers now are prepared in online pedagogy? How can we make sure that when teachers are going to expose to digitalization, they are ready also to handle the lessons and the pedagogies using online platform? Then how could we make sure that we have adequate teacher and children or student ratio and proportion, that we are not overwhelming the classrooms with a number of students, so that teachers can easily handle the students very well? Okay, because if there are more students in the classroom, there are diverse learners, teachers might confuse now how to handle these students, because the classrooms are overnumbered. Okay, so how can we make sure as an organization to lessen the number of students, no, in our schools, to ensure that our teachers are delivering the lessons well, despite diversity? Then how can we ensure also our parents to become educator for children? Okay. In marginalized areas, how can we let the parents understand that they have the great role in developing learning for their students? How can they better understand now that it's at the internet, who is the first hand platform to for their students to learn, but it's the parents and the home, which is the first school for our young children. So how could we migrate now the thinking of our parents that it's not the technology who can be the first hand teachers to our learners, but it should be the parents themselves can be the first hand teachers of our students. That aside from learning reading, learning literacy and numeracy in digital platform, it must be our parents who will become the first teachers of literacy and numeracy. And the last one, with the advent of the technology and the digital rise and digitalization, in the advent that most of our children are exposed now to gadgets and technologies, how can we allow the school and our stakeholders and our parents and the rest of the educational community to ensure cyber use and its security? That what digital platforms are being given to the students can be safe and can be safe for them, can be a good source for learning, but not any material that could allow them to think of something that is not acceptable in education. So how could we ensure that when we provide equipment, when we provide technological gadgets, and we provide technological content, these content are appropriate to their age, and there is no violation of privacy. There is no violation of the content, and there are no other contents that are not good, no, for our children. So these are some things that we need to consider, aside from the holistic and proactive approaches, that we are going to take a look in the implementation of curriculum in our school context. So in these trying times, we are compelled to come up with innovative and creative ways to implement our plans to troubleshoot challenges in the post-pandemic education. And of course, this movement is not only for one person, not only for teachers, not only for school leaders, not only for internal and external stakeholders, but we are in this together. And together, we can always make better things happen. So again, thank you very much, no, to all of you, and good day, everyone.
Samir, reducing. Thank you so much, dear sir, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seekers surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seeker. Once again, thank you so much, dear sir, for your presentation. Now, sir, it's time for our question answer session, which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinar. Honorable sir, please stay with us. After a short video, we will back in our session part 2, which is our question answer part. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back to our participants. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can clearly hear you.
Okay, sir. So, our first question is from Joanna. What are your plans to help the school leaders solve post-pandemic education problems?
Okay. Uh, there are many plans actually, no, that we can help the school. We can help the school through technical assistance, through capacity building, through partnerships, through mentoring and coaching. But first, the schools must define what are the problems that they were able to encounter, because DepEd could not just give anything. Leaders from the top management could not just not give everything if the school could not identify their problem. So again, uh, for schools to be helped by of course the stakeholders, that both the internal and external stakeholders, it must start first with reassessment. Okay, assessment is very important because from assessment, you can have your plans. Okay? If a particular school, if a particular leader has his plans laid off, okay, so internal and external stakeholders can now be able to identify what particular help or what particular assistance can they give to the school to conquer the post-pandemic education problems. Again, when we say taking a look at the plan, it's going to be very broad, but school leaders must understand how to identify first what are the problems and to prioritize what are the problems before they are going to seek help and assistance to other stakeholders.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear participant, please ask your question in the comment box. We are waiting for your question here. Question আসতেছে না, শেষ করে দাও। Sir, I think there is no more question from our participants. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Sir, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topics. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Sir, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new date. Thank you, sir. Take care. Honorable Sir, before we move to the next, our webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can, sir.
Okay, thank you very much and see you next session.
Welcome, sir. Thank you. IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our certification process. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Dear participant, today our webinar topic is Challenge of New School Leaders in Preventing Post-Pandemic Education, and the code is IGP 5678 and the code is IGP 5678. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime. Now I am going to tell you how can you claim your certificate. Go to www.eduigp.com, click sign in, log in if you already have an account or create a new account if you are new. Once logged in, click free webinar, select the webinar title and click continue course, get enrolled if you haven't enrolled yet. Type the code in your certificate code box, click get your certificate. It is auto downloaded in PDF file already. Just check it in your file manager or download folder. Don't forget to leave a review in our FB page, website, and in Google. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the most engaging part of our regular webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Go to www.slido.com and find today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining. Quiz code is afternoon. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. Let's enjoy our quiz session. And don't forget to mention your friend to join our quiz session. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is afternoon. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is afternoon. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is afternoon. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is afternoon. Please join in Slido with the code and the code is afternoon. With 39 people, we are starting our quiz session right now. Our first question is, how did the France king govern in New France? Option 1, he appointed officially. Option 2, he flew back and forth. Option 1, he appointed officially is the right answer. 84% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Marfred is holding the first position after completing our first question. Our second question is, who was actually in charge of the new music government? Option 1, Emperor Meiji. Option 2, young leaders, former samurai. Option 2, young leaders, former samurai is the right answer. 18% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Hannah is holding the first position after completing our second question. Our third question is, having students involved in school promotions and contests create. Option 1, enemies. Option 2, excitement. Option 2, excitement is the right answer and 100% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Hannah is holding the first position after completing our third question. Our fourth question is, what problem did the colony of New France have in its early years? Option 1, not enough colonists. Option 2, too many colonists. Option 1, not anapologist is the right answer. 38% people are right here in the leaderboard. Swami is holding the first position after completing our fourth question. Our fifth question is, what did the Aztec slaves primarily collect in the New World? Option 1 is spice. Option 2, precious metals. Hmm? Option 2, precious metals. The right answer, 65% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flammy is holding the first position after completing our fifth question. Now, our sixth question is, what did Cortes do to make sure that his soldiers would stay in Spain? Option 1, sank the ships. Option 2, murdered their families. Option 1, sank the ship is the right answer. 53% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Joel is holding the first position after completing our sixth question. Our seventh question is with the challenge posed by diverse learners, it is in educator professional interest to option 1 maintain their personal grooming after the standards of the industry, option 2 engage in contest professional assessment and improvement, option 2 engage in the constant professional assessment and improvement is the right answer. 79% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flammy is holding the first position after completing our seventh question. Our eighth question is in the 7th century, the popular of the New France almost doubled that of the 13 colonies. Option 1 true, option 2 false. কই না তো আমি এখন কোনো হামিয়ে দিইনি option 2 false is right answer 26% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flammy is holding the first position after completing our eighth question. The second last question of our afternoon session. The question is the fur trade in New France was the beginning of the Canadian economy. Option 1 true, option 2 false. Option 1 true is the right answer. 84% people are right here. In the leaderboard, Flammy is holding the first position. Our last and final question of this session. Who are the two leaders that are voted into lead the newly formed responsibility government? Option 1 Robert Baldwin and Louis Hippolyte Lafontaine. Option 2 These did not happen. Option 1 is the right answer and 97% people are right here. Congratulations, our top 10 online quiz competition winner. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result and after that we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our official Facebook page and group, Institute of Global Professional. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result and after that we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our official Facebook page and group, Institute of Global Professional. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. Slido will take a few minutes for finalizing the result and after that we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. At the end of our session, we can say properly feed your skill, never stop learning, cause life stop teaching us. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end like button again, wants to thanks all IGP knowledge seeker for your active participation as always. See you again in the next session. Thank you.